Welcome to the Draft Deeper podcast. This is your host, Nathan Grubel. Joining me as always is my producer, Kevin Black. This is the first show now without who has been my co-host for the last few months, Stephen Gillespie. However, we bring in the Avengers. That's right. We are assembling the Avengers tonight for Mock Draft 3.0 on the Draft Deeper podcast feed. Tyler Rucker has basically been a co-host to the Draft Deeper podcast for a lot of this draft cycle. And joining us is also one co-host of the Draft Act. I guess both of these gentlemen are co-hosts of On the Clock on No Ceilings TV. That's right, the On the Clock show, baby. Corey Taluba. Corey, I'll start with you first since you're the guest. How you doing tonight, man?
Feeling like Iron Man in the Dravengers. I'm feeling good. We had a really fun night, a big night for the No Ceilings family on lottery night. So I'm riding that high like Scott Skiles was.
No comment. I plead the fifth. But yeah, what Corey's referencing is No Ceilings. We did an absolute blowout of lottery coverage.
So did Scott Skiles.
we knew it was coming. I said I plead the fifth, and then I followed it up with that. But lottery coverage last night. No Ceilings did a live show on our YouTube channel. Rucker and Metcalf, co-hosts of the No Ceilings NBA podcast, as well as Corey and Albert, did a live stream. And then we also hosted a Twitter Spaces. Nick and Alex hosted a Twitter Spaces over from the No Ceilings NBA account. And all of these animals jumped into the Twitter Spaces after they were done with the YouTube live stream. I am still amazed that Tyler Rucker's looking at me and he's still somehow awake. I don't know, Tyler, I don't know how you haven't just like fallen over on the floor yet at this point. How you doing, man? How you holding up?
I'm all right. I don't really know where I'm at right now. I'm kidding. I'm pumped to be back on Draft Deeper. I feel like Jordan.
I was waiting for Corey to say this is Scott Skiles again.
I'm pretty excited for a little mock draft. You know, I got my magic 8-ball. I'm ready to shake up and find some.
We're just gonna keep
I can't help it. If you watched the stream with us last night, you understand all these jokes. I hope some people are listening and laughing right now.
You can replay. You can go back and replay it on.
That's right.
On No Ceilings TV.
It's worth the watch. You'll laugh. I promise. At least twice.
You can go back and watch the YouTube video. You can listen to it on the No Ceilings NBA podcast feed. Please go back and listen to that coverage as well as the mock draft because these boys did an incredible job on it. I'm sorry I cut you off, Rucker.
No, it's fine. I barely even noticed. That tells you, my reserve battery that's going on right now. But I'm gonna rally. I'm ready to rock, and I'm ready to talk some NBA draft with you two maniacs.
So it's mock draft season. It's over. I'd set the over under in terms of how many mocks the three of us are going to be participating in over the next month. We'll set the over under at 10. I don't know. I think
so easily over.
I mean, we're at you boys did a first round last night on the stream, which is what we were able to put out on the NoCeilingsNBA.com Substack this morning. Now you're participating in another first round mock with me. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me tonight. That's 2 in 1 week. So you're only 8 off from meeting that number, and you got 30 days to do it. I think we're gonna get there, but let's kick it off. So Corey being the honored guest of honored guests, the person who wants to make all of the Orlando Magic jokes, the person who had the Penny Hardaway jersey on last night. And am I correct about that? We might have lost Corey. He might be gone.
That's okay.
That's all right. We're gonna keep it rolling.
If we have to be a 2-man show, this is just what's gonna happen, folks. It's kind of like destiny, Me and Nathan started out going together, and now we just might have to bring it home. So
I think it's going to be a 2-man show. I think that's what's going to happen here. So, Rucker, now I know I'm really going to be throwing you off at this point. Now I'm deferring to you. You now have the number 1 pick in the 2022 NBA draft.
You know what, folks? You usually have to pay double for this type of suspense. Not only did we lose Corey basically was a GM that once he got on the clock, he got fired. So, I mean, you don't see this stuff often. This is they can't even make scripts of this in
He
Hollywood.
already got pulled off the podcast. We
Yeah.
made one too many Scott Skiles
Unbelievable.
jokes. They already pulled him. So
yeah,
that's what happens.
He got flagged for the Scott Skiles. He played too many cards of that.
Don't fuck around with the NBA, man.
No, exactly.
You're gonna get thrown off.
Exactly. So yes, Orlando. I'm taking over now. I'm the captain now. You know, I thought this would be. I'm going to change it up a little bit, Nathan. I thought this would be Chet. That's probably where I would go, but I'm going to go Jabari Smith. I'm going to go Jabari Smith at number 1 because, you know, I still think I personally would probably go Chet Holmgren there. If Corey somehow comes back in here and wants to change that up, he can. But you know, I'm not getting my hopes up. We just fired him mid draft. But, you know, Jabari's an intriguing fit there. I could see the upside. I could see the swing. Corey's back.
Corey's here.
Who are you going to take? Because I had to kind of be on the clock for you. We're all off the rails. Now we gave you came
so was
back
Scott Skiles.
We said we thought you got fired from the podcast because you already made one too many Scott Skiles jokes.
You can never make too many Scott Skiles jokes. I'm going straight from the phone now.
That's fine. We don't even have to have all of our faces on this podcast. We can just go audio only for this podcast. It doesn't even matter at this point.
I wish people could see Corey's face though, because I'm looking at a sideways Corey and it's just horrifying. But anyways, it looks like he keeps falling.
Yeah.
Corey, you're back on the clock because I thought you got fired.
Okay,
on the clock.
Here I am. Who am I on the clock for? We didn't see it yet.
This is Orlando.
Okay. It's got to be. It's. You know, who else played for Orlando? I'm going to go with Chet Holmgren here. This is an easy.
We got to fire him right away. Now we're having conflict in the front office. No, I'm kidding. Okay, being serious, we're back, folks. Now we're back. All right, go ahead, Corey.
This was an easy decision, easy pick. Chet Holmgren's the best player in the draft. I think he's got unicorn potential. He meets all of the skill, IQ, versatility, length trends that, you know, we love to see in NBA prospects. I'm just taking Chet Holmgren. I'm betting that he's going to be able to hold up physically. It's never been a problem for him at any other stop of his basketball career. And the dude was one of the more productive players in college basketball in years by almost any metric. So easy decision. Orlando went Shaq. They went Dwight. And now they're going Shaq.
Now they're going Shaq. The exact opposite of Shaq and Dwight from a physicality standpoint. Got to get that last comment in. I will say, boys, I think it's incredibly laughable. And I said this to Steven last night, that we have to see these Twitter threads and all these conversations on social media about how Chet Holmgren is apparently lacking in the offense department. I do not think that's the case. I think what Mike Schmidt said on ESPN today when he unleashed part of his film session with Chet Holmgren, he made a comment to everybody at the desk that he really thinks that Chet only got to show about 20% of his offensive game last year at Gonzaga. I 150% buy in on that. Rucker, I know that you buy in on it because you got to see Chet Holmgren very early on in the year. You got to watch him warm up, and you just wanted to keep talking to us in our Twitter chat about how impressive he looked and some of the shots that he was attempting in warm-up, so that you just knew there was more skill to be had there. Like, yeah, I'm assuming you're in agreement that you think it's a little laughable that he can't get to like a 20-plus points per game average.
Yeah, I think he could get up there for sure. I think Schmitz was spot on with that, and people might overreact from that comment, but it's important to always realize these guys aren't finished products. They don't get to showcase everything in 1 year. They got to play inside a system, and they're at one of those top tier schools. And Chet did a great job. He was a high-low machine with Timmy. He was a great transition spot up guy. But I still think there's mid-range game. I still think there's a bundle of tools offensively that people aren't realizing is just waiting to be released. And that's going to happen at the NBA level. So Chet's been number one for me all year. I was going to go that direction until Corey basically got nervous and ran out on the clock. So
you panicked. Yeah.
I shook things up to be like, okay, fine, we'll throw Jabari here, but I would go Chet. It'll be interesting to see what happens. So I like it.
you have the opportunity to potentially take your boy because you are on the clock for the Oklahoma City Thunder at number 2. There's been some discussions about how Paolo could possibly be in play for this pick. However, I personally think if this is how it broke out with Chet at number 1, I think they would go Jabari Smith. Are you also going Jabari Smith?
Yeah, I'm going Jabari. I'm not going to milk it too much here, but I just think I understand the Paulo upside because that could be the sales pitch of like, hey, he's going to be the most NBA ready to come in and get offensive buckets right away. But I still think Jabari's upside could be too intriguing for Sam Presti to pass up on both sides of the floor. He's got a long way to develop more all around offensively, but what he did as an outside shooter this year, what he's flashed, there's some really, really damn good basketball ahead for Jabari Smith. And OKC would be a great place for him to slowly continue to develop and advance that game. So I would love Jabari to go to OKC. I think that'd be a great fit.
I mean, he's got 2 awesome guards to play off of. And this is something I said to Steven too, where everybody wanted to just shit on Auburn for the quote unquote lack of guard play. Well, you can't use that anymore with Oklahoma City. SGA and Giddey will get Jabari Smith literally wherever he needs to get the ball. And I just think taking that much pressure off of him to be able to be the shot maker that we know he is, that's the type of situation Jabari needs to be in to succeed to his most full potential on offense. So I absolutely think that's an incredible fit. That leaves me on the clock, number 3, Houston Rockets. Can I go with anybody else? Can it be anybody else but Paolo Banchero? It has to be. But
no,
it can.
You can do whatever you want. You're the host. You can do whatever you want. You want to get wild? We can get wild.
I listen, there are so many people who are counting on me to get this pick, quote unquote, right in the Houston Rockets fan community that I have to make the pick as Paolo Banchero. But why not, man? You talk about the 2-man game potential between him and Jalen Green. I get it. There are going to be some real defensive concerns if your front line at times is Alperen Şengün and Paolo Banchero. I get it, but just the offense, having another go-to guy next to Jalen Green, next to Kevin Porter Jr., being able to play off of guys like Jacob, when they mix up lineups, like that's the type of guy that you want to have and be able to bring in versus one of the other guards. When Houston does have multiple guards in the roster already, let's give them another potential number 1 option on offense in Paolo Banchero. So, Corey, this is where, as the kids would say, the draft really starts at pick number 4 with the Sacramento Kings. There's a few directions you can go. Do not piss off our own Nick with this pick. Don't piss him off. They do him justice.
So you want me to take Nikola Jovic here? Is that what you're saying?
That's what Nick would want you to do. Now you don't have to do that. Just don't make him mad.
I'm not going to. I don't care that he measured in at 6'11" today in shoes. This is a tough one. It's really tough. I mean, it's exciting for Sacramento that they've jumped up in the draft and they put themselves in this position. But Rucker and I were talking last night on the stream because we're going to collab on a piece that initially was going to be based on OKC being stuck in the 4th spot. And they're, kind of where fit and best player available meet together. And at what point does it kind of tip the scale of, if you could take best player available, but if you don't put them in a good situation, are you really getting that best player available that you think you're getting? And Sacramento has just slid right into that exact same situation here because, the consensus number 4 pick is Jaden Ivey. You look at Shaedon Sharpe, he's another guy. I think he offers a little bit different of a skill set, but another guy that is a guard. And then, you can go a completely different situation where you're going with Keegan Murray. And I think that's what we did on our mock at No Ceilings, which is an absolutely strong decision if Sacramento went that way. But a lot of people would argue that you're not getting that same kind of potential to maximize out of Keegan because he's a little older. All in all, after that long-winded response, I'm going to go with Shaedon Sharpe. I've really come alive on the Shaedon Sharpe bandwagon. Obviously, the physical tools, he measured out well. You've seen the athleticism. I buy the shot making. And I think that out of, between him and Ivy, I think that he's just an easier guy to fit within any kind of roster because you don't have to give him the ball and tell him to go and to maximize his potential. And Ivy could play off the ball a little bit, but I think you're really just running into a situation where between Davion Mitchell, who showed a lot with the ball in his hands at the end of the season, and De'Aaron Fox, who showed a ton after the Sabonis trade, I think putting a wing like Sharp next to that, who can shoot the lights out of the gym off the ball while still being able to create his own, and I think can slot up to the three a little easier. So I'm going to go with Shaedon Sharp here.
That would basically be my reasoning, Corey, for doing the same thing, is that he does measure out as a true wing. And while he's not physically ready yet to play the three in his rookie year in the NBA, I would agree with you. I think he's going to get there. And even if he's technically a three in more small ball lineups, I mean, you saw Sacramento want to draft Davion Mitchell, being willing to experiment with these 3-guard lineups. And so having Shaedon in that quote-unquote three-man backcourt versus Jaden Ivey, I personally think would be a better fit alongside those two at this point. And he still offers all the long-term upside when we want to use that word. Although, don't say that Keegan Murray doesn't have upside around Rucker, else he might throw something through a window.
Look, I know he does. And I think I would be completely on board with that pick if that's the direction that Sacramento went. And I'll also say that, for Sacramento fans, they might be a little afraid of a guy like Shaedon Sharp, who's a little bit of a mystery guy, athletic shooter after, they ran into their Ben McLemore problem, earlier this decade. Jesus, I have no idea. So, I could see them being excited and half the fandom being scared. But ultimately, I think it's the way I want to go here.
No, that's what I would do as well. I 100% agree with you. So, Rucker, you have a chance here now at number 5 representing Detroit basketball. You can make that pick. You can go that route with your boy Keegan Murray. You can go with somebody like Jaden Ivey. You could just throw a completely different curveball ass. I never know what you're going to do on a daily basis. You could shock us here. So what are you going to do?
I usually don't know what I'm going to do. So there you go. It was – I think if you're a Pistons fan, you left last night, you're bummed because you're like, oh, we could have gotten one of the top boys. But I think it could be a blessing in disguise because they're going to be in a good spot.
Yeah.
I think Detroit's going to be in a position where hopefully they're getting one of Shaedon Sharp or Jaden Ivey. And whatever Sacramento does, maybe Sacramento does take Keegan Murray on draft night and the Pistons have an opportunity to take either one they want. But, here I'm going to go Jaden Ivey. I really am warming up to that idea of that backcourt of Cade and Ivey with some crazy NASCAR speed, athleticism, the length, the nastiness. That would be a really good fit. I think that would be an exciting backcourt for years to come for Pistons fans. So, although they didn't get up to the top 3, I think they could still be in a great position to get someone like Ivey at 5 because they got up to 3 and stayed there. There would have been a debate. We would have been saying, are they going to go Ivy or Jabari? It would have been a little weird. And now it gets a little clearer. The picture is going to be a little bit more simple. So I like Ivy there. I'm warming up to it.
Listen, Chad Ford had the intel feelers out like months ago when Detroit was, at number 1 in mock drafts and at number 2 in mock drafts. And Chad was consistently putting Jaden Ivey there based on a lot of the intel that he had behind the scenes. So the Pistons could be at 5, fall out of the top 4, yet still get their guy. I mean, talk about a win on draft night. I 100% agree with you. That leaves me with the Indiana Pacers at number 6. I'm not spicing it up. We're going Keegan Murray. We're going to take, in my opinion, one of the better players available at this point. By my board, I can make an argument to take Johnny Davis right here. Johnny Davis is number 6 on my board. But I think Keegan Murray, he has more upside than I think a lot of people want to give him credit for. Rucker, I mean, you're the biggest one on this No Ceilings team really driving the Keegan Murray bandwagon. But I do agree with a lot of the points that you make on a daily basis. Like if we're talking about a Tobias Harris like outcome for him on offense, that's upside. That's a max contract player. I think a lot of teams would be ecstatic to know that they're getting that kind of value with the 6th pick in the draft, considering how many darts just get thrown on draft night in the lottery. A lot of these guys, for whatever reason, just don't pan out to the level that we think they can pan out at. But I think Keegan Murray's a safe bet to maybe he's not the Shaedon Sharpe level of upside, but that doesn't mean he can't keep developing as a player on both ends of the floor. One of the smartest players in this draft class. We know he's a capable passer, capable shooter, scorer. Yeah, I'm taking Keegan Murray to slot into that Indiana team and really fit like a glove with that organization. So, Corey, you're on the clock. Portland Trailblazers at number 7. You have an important responsibility here. Do not upset Dame Lillard. More so than what he looked like last night at the lottery. Goodness gracious, that man did not look happy to be there last night. But he was there supporting his organization. Got to give him props.
Yeah, well, we're not doing trades on this mock draft, but I still think that this pick is going to be in play. The Jeremy Grant rumors came out, and if you're Dame, like, you probably aren't going to be thrilled about adding an 18, 19-year-old kid to the roster to help you advance back to your ultimate goal of making the playoffs.
Are you thrilled about like trading the 7th pick for an expiring contract though either? Like it's a tough place to be.
Sure. I mean, there are more options than Jeremy Grant out there, but sure. I think that it's a volatile situation. Whatever happens, I need Portland to right, because the Bulls have their pick lottery protected, and I need them to make the playoffs. So they've got to nail this. I'm going to take AJ Griffin.
Okay.
Still a big believer. He's still 6th on my board, and I think that a team that needs like a more wingy guy. They had the experiment with CJ and Dame. They went as far as they could with that duo, making it to the Western Conference Finals. Anthony Simons looks like he took a step, and if he makes, I don't think he'll make a huge leap next year, but if he continues to make small leaps within his career to play next to Dame, you're replacing that CJ production with Simons potentially, and getting, Griffin allows them to put a guy at the 3 who show that he doesn't need the ball in his hands to make an impact. He can do that moving without the ball, cutting, shooting, spotting up. I'm not a buyer in him being this nuclear best shooter in the draft, but I am a buyer in him being a absolutely plus shooter. And my thing is, I still really believe that he has so much more off the bounce potential than I think we're giving him credit for, because he didn't get to show it on a team with, Wendell Moore, Jeremy Roach, Trevor Keels, Paulo Banchero, like go down the line. It's just ball handler after ball handler after ball handler at Duke. And he came into the situation just buying in, trying to fit in. But if you went back and you watched him in high school, the kid, has some real wiggle with the rock in his hand. He's got some real self-creation ability, and he would bust it out every now and then. Yeah. And I believe that with facing an offense that allows him to play with the ball in his hands a little bit more, I think that he can, continue to improve upon that potential that he showed in high school. And not to mention, he was, this productive offensively. And this is a kid who missed a ton of time, be it with injuries in high school, then with the COVID season, but he comes from an NBA family. And I'm just buying in on the combination of the skill and the tools. And I know that defensively it wasn't great this year, but there were also, to me, like a lot of positive signs defensively too. They didn't happen as consistently as you want, but he would just show flashes of being able to bang in the post, switch out onto quick twitchy guards, getting out, making quick start, stop, and transition. Really things that I'm just encouraged by. So I think he's got a ton of potential, and I'm still buying all the AJ Griffin stock that everybody's selling right now.
Listen, man, the Trailblazers need shooting on the wing desperately. And regardless of everything that you said that could detract from his stock, you said a lot of positives, and the biggest one will obviously be that he's one of the best shooters in this draft class. Like, the numbers would indicate that from every single level he's been at. Like, you can't dispute that. So he does definitely fill a need for that Trailblazers team, and then potentially offers you more upside if he's able to come back into the swing of things even more so physically and get closer to what he was in high school. Tremendous. high school talent. I mean, there's a guy we talked about him as like a top 5 prospect for the season. So he's very, very close to that, going to number 7. The Pelicans at number 8. Tyler Rucker's on the clock. Do not disappoint the city of New Orleans, Rucker. Keep the positive playoff momentum going. So many fun young pieces on that team. They can add another one. Who will that guy be?
Yeah, I'm not going to let down anyone. I think New Orleans is going to be in a good spot. They can go in a number of different directions. I feel like I change my mind every day of who I think makes sense. But for now, I'm going to go with Benedict Mathurin of Arizona. I'm going to give New Orleans another little feisty wing that can shoot the ball from outside, has some really intriguing defensive upside that I think could be unlocked with that core. And we're getting some more shooting, which New Orleans has needed that over the years. They've needed to bring in some shooting to go alongside guys like Brandon Ingram. I know CJ's there, so Mathurin will just be this kind of rotation burst or boost, if you want to put it that way, and continue to groom him. So, I was thinking maybe Dyson Daniels there. We've done that a lot at No Ceilings. I would love that fit too, but I'm going to go with Mathurin. I'm going to change it up a little bit.
The guy that I would have taken if I was drafting for the Pelicans, I think this would be a very fun Johnny Davis spot, more so than a lot of the other places on the board. I think Mathurin fits for basically the same reasons as I would probably say that Johnny Davis fits. So I do agree with the pick and potentially offers a little more upside there if more of the shot creation really comes around. But either way, you're asking Mathurin to be more of an off-ball threat on offense around all of these other guys who thrive with the ball in their hands. So you get to take advantage of all of Mathurin's strengths while taking advantage of his athleticism, his competitive motor on defense. He could be a really, really fun pick for the Pelicans.
Can I bring up a wild card?
You sure can.
It's been bugging me today because I think maybe this.
Because I'm gonna throw you both back in your chairs for the next pick. So
okay,
you can go ahead.
Corey, on the stream last night, we made an official ruling about Jeremy's last name pronunciation. Can you please remind me of it? Because it's been bugging me for the last 10 minutes.
Sohan.
There it is.
Okay,
I had it right.
Sohan.
So could Sohan be a wild card here?
He could.
Absolutely.
I mean, this Pelicans team needs to keep adding to the defense, right? So why not?
Well, if he's getting buzzed towards the top 10, I'm wondering who it is. And I think that could be a little bit of a David Griffin special. And the idea of adding him with Herb Jones and
I think he's in play anywhere in the top 6, from 6 to 10.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, Washington doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess San Antonio would probably make a decent amount of sense for Sohan. And we've even done that, I think, in the mock draft at No Ceilings as well. That's not where I'm going, though.
7 and 9 would be where he's sizzling, probably. But
you guys better buckle up for this pick. I'm gonna shock the both of you because this is a
Yannick
player.
Sosa.
No, you're close though in the big man.
Kai Soto.
I am not taking Kai Soto.
He went down my board today.
Spurs. In the big man family tree, though, this is a player who I was middling on him coming into the season. Then I kind of had him towards the back end of the first as we marched through the process. And then as I got to dive back, watch more of the film, particularly in the second half of the year, I shot this guy up into my lottery. And then we see what happens with measurements coming out today at the NBA Draft Combine. Yes, we're recording this on Wednesday, the 18th. I'm going Mark Williams out of Duke to the San Antonio Spurs
so
at number
much.
9. This guy. So
Wow.
let's. I know Corey's like, wow, Nate, it took you this long to come around to my side. It finally happened. But listen, a dead clock can be right twice a day, right? So he measured in, I believe it was 7'2" in shoes with a 7'6.5" wingspan, if I'm correct on those measurements. Something ridiculous in terms of a standing reach. I think it was like 98 or 99 or something along those lines. Like this dude. The comparison with him in terms of who should go in the spot if you're taking a big is between him and Jalen Duren, right? I think San Antonio would actually rather have Mark Williams at this point. I think he's a more proven commodity at the center position. That Spurs team, for all that they do defensively, which, by the way, Mark Williams fits in defensively as well, they need offense from that spot as well. And we know Mark Williams is finishing virtually everything he gets the opportunity to around the basket. Like one of these 70 plus 2-point field goal percentage guys. And that's really the key separator for me. The high level finishing. If you're going to be this rim running type of big in the NBA, I've said this before, you need to be an incredibly high level finisher on offense, like a Robert Williams is, like a Daniel Gafford is. Like that's the type of finisher you need to be. And Mark Williams checks those boxes. He is that dude. Yeah, I'm gonna take him at number 9, and I'm gonna sleep like a baby doing so at this point. I would love that fit for San Antonio. So that's what we're doing here. I know. But what do you guys think? Are you shocked I went that high with him?
No, I'm not shocked. He's awesome.
He is awesome.
He's an awesome basketball player, and he's, one of the safer guys because you can bank on all of the things that you touched on with him. Yeah, I mean, look, people will say it's too early, but it's not like Mark Williams is like an old senior.
No,
he's still a young player. He's a Spurs guy.
I've been saying it with Metcalf on the No Ceilings pod. We've been saying, why wouldn't San Antonio consider Mark Williams here? I completely agree with everything you just said, Nathan, because I think if it came down to they wanted a big, I still believe Mark Williams would be higher on their board. And it's not anything against Jalen Duren, because I think Jalen Duren has a higher upside.
Yep.
I just think Mark Williams is what they need. They need a early contributor that doesn't need a ton of touches or anything. He can just come in, play great defense. He has crazy length, as we saw today at the combine. And you could see
ridiculous.
It on film.
I did not know he was that big. Did any of that shock you as much as it shocked me? Those measurements?
He's humongous on film. And I think that's what's just jumped at me all year, which is why I've been so in love with him. He is a disruptor without blocking shots. Like, he just causes problems with his frame, his length. The point guard's driving there, and it's like Chet. They look at him like, oh, crap. Like, there's Mark. I got to pull it back out. So I just think the motor's always running. He makes a lot of good strategic, like, winning time plays. He's a garbage man. Like, I could definitely see him being a sweet spot at 9. I think people might think that's rich, but I love it. I think you're right on, Nathan. You're on to something.
A lineup of Murray, Primo, Vassell, Kellen Johnson, Mark Williams. That would just make me so happy.
And DeJounte Murray, someone DM'd me one day and said I need to stop pronouncing his name wrong. So DeJounte Murray. I'm sorry.
What were you pronouncing it?
Deontay.
What is your thing with these pronunciations?
No. For
Corey,
Rucker's defense, I've heard Deontay as well.
I don't sleep, Corey. So there's just I have to have some mistakes in life, okay? And it's just pronunciations with draft prospects.
All right, yeah, okay. You're right. I guess I have the experience with weird name pronunciations from working at a high school.
Yeah, so
and reading out rosters. So not everybody's got the experience. I get that.
When we get that far in the podcast, by the way, it's Ousmane Dieng.
There you go. See, I know that one, but
yes. I even have messed up lately and said Ousmane. I think, and I know Chuck definitely did on my podcast. We had to apologize for people listening in the audience, so we're going to try to get these pronunciations right. Listen, unless we were the commissioner walking up to the podium with literally everything spelled out phonetically for us, like, we're going to make some mistakes. It's no ceilings though, baby. We're having fun. So Corey, you're back on the clock with the Washington Wizards. Yep. We just talked about Sohan is in like a top 10 range. You could go that direction. You could go with somebody else. Who are you taking at number 10 for Chocolate City, Washington Wizards?
So Sohan would be fun just for, like, as my Draft Act co-host Albert said yesterday on the stream, the United Nations that the Wizards are building, adding the British, Polish, American kid would just hit a whole bunch of check marks for them.
But you're going to take Kai Soto instead.
Right. No, I'm going to take Jalen Duren.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little new, Corey. I like this.
Yeah. To me, look, Gafford is a fine player.
Yep.
But right now, and things could change, I could see him having like a JaVale McGee like career, ending where he's just like going to contenders and playing that role. But right now, I don't think he's a starting center. I watched him as a Bulls fan, and I was really happy with the pick, and he was really productive early, and that's, I think, a tip in the cap to Mark Williams and that kind of archetype of player that it's maybe a little easier to find ways to contribute when you know what you're good at with your game. But he is not a guy that I'm like, center position's locked down. I think Jalen Duren is, at this point, his talent is jumping off the page for Washington, and they're a team that is kind of taken the let's try to draft a whole bunch of wings strategy, which is a positive strategy. So I'll take Duren. I know they got Porzingis. I know they have Gafford, but Duren is a kid who reclassified. He's supposed to be getting ready for his senior prom, and instead he's getting ready to, play in the NBA. So I'm taking Jalen Duren and all the positive things that he showed, from like the second half of the year on, after we saw him live in Brooklyn. A little bit after that and on, I thought that he was just a tremendous
fire. Oh boy,
it wasn't a great game. It was not a great game, but we got to see Tyrese Hunter put on a show before that, so that was
right. We did.
Fun.
So I know Rucker said it's definitely a little something different. I like it as well. You mentioned Daniel Gafford. We can praise Daniel Gafford for what he gives you in like the 15 to 20 minutes that he can play on the floor, but that's like his max. I think at this point, I think we all know that's his max. And Porzingis, Lord only knows, like how healthy is that?
You can't make any plans. Yeah, you can't make plans based on Porzingis and his health.
Exactly. So if the Wizards get to talk to Duren, they evaluate him. They feel like he's definitely a prospect that you can't pass on if he's there at this point. I can definitely see them going that direction. I don't think any of the bigs in front of him would prevent them from making that pick. So, Rucker, now it's up to you. You got to make the city of New York very happy. You got to give the Knicks somebody to cheer for with the 11th overall pick. A number of intriguing options on the board, a number of guys who would make our own Albert Ginn a very happy Knicks fan. So I don't know which direction you're going to go, but you got a lot of options.
This is tough.
I know.
Oh, this is really tough.
Did we reach the point where we're just like Sam Vecina in every mock, or we just go, this is gross? Like, did we reach that point? Is it gross yet?
No, I just know what I want to do. I just don't know if it really makes sense. And I think Corey knows what I'm exactly talking about.
Do what's right in your heart. Because I think I'm with you.
I
think I'm with you. I don't.
Nobody knows what he's thinking.
I can't pass him. I got to take Johnny Davis. I can't pass him up.
There you do. Thank you.
Okay.
I can't. I mean, that would be just like.
See, I love the fit too. I love that fit.
I just like Dyson Daniels there really excites me, but getting Johnny Davis at 11 would be just fantastic.
Yeah.
That might be a rookie that Tibbs actually plays. I love Donnie. I mean, I love Johnny. I'm all over the place now because if that actually happened, and I'm looking at the board, and this isn't unrealistic, and I have Johnny really high on my board, but this could be a weird order that could happen, and all of a sudden, Johnny's the guy that just slips through the cracks and falls right into the Knicks' lap. But tough, gritty. New York would literally fall in love with him after 2 games. He would just play his butt off and give it every single night. So I'd love that fit. I think that would be a slam dunk. And I would love Daniels there, but I do think Johnny, that'd be too intriguing to pass up.
I love exactly what you just said. That I think these first 6 picks, we went pretty chalk in terms of how I would expect it to play out today. We started going a little differently, although it's not anything crazy with AJ Griffin at 7 to the Blazers. And then we've been making some different picks, but as you pointed out, like, these are all very realistic picks that could happen. Like, the reasoning we have behind all of these selections is absolutely there. So if Davis fell to number 11, I mean, we all think he has star potential. Like, that's not news to any of us. I don't know why he has been soured on at this point on social media. I personally don't get it. We know Metcalf doesn't get it. We know Metcalf just wants to like pull his hair out every time he goes on Twitter at this point. So yeah, getting him at number 11, incredible.
He measured his measurements today, man.
I could not believe he's almost 6'6".
I think that was a big number today. That not enough people are talking about. We were all drooling over the Mark Williams stuff, but the Johnny numbers, I was like,
yeah,
whoa, okay.
That puts him in the conversation where Metcalf doesn't sound like a psychopath anymore.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
No.
if he was almost he was 6'5" and
he's 6'5" and 3/4. So
I mean, you're almost
he's
6'6".
close enough to 6'6". Yeah, that surprised me.
You know what, Nathan? Like we're doing all these mocks. We're looking at this stuff. 8 to 11 right now.
This could all happen.
You could throw any of those guys in any order. You could throw Dyson Daniels in there. You could probably throw Branham in there. That could happen. Like two guys are going to fall, and some team's going to just jump all over it. Johnny could be that. Mathurin could be that. It's going to be fascinating.
Well, I'll just give you the spoiler alert. Right? Dyson Daniels is going to be my pick at number 12 for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Sure. Sam Presti's going to bring out a tequila bottle if that happens.
If he gets Jabari Smith and Dyson Daniels
in
the same draft, holy smokes. Talk about plugging multiple holes in one draft. I
mean,
come on, Nathan. We're going to talk about plugging multiple holes, and you don't want me to make a joke.
I'm holding it in.
Yeah.
We're trying to get more back towards PG after last night's stream. So
no, it's the Draft Keeper podcast. It's fine.
That's what she said.
We do what we want here. Yeah. We quite literally do what we want here. I loved what Steven did with Jabari Smith and Jalen Duren, but I would be even more ecstatic if it was Jabari Smith and Dyson Daniels at this point. Because Dyson Daniels really has gained enough steam to the point where I think a lot of people would agree he has top 8 value potentially in this draft. So we talk about the word value and getting these players later than what we're projecting them on a big board. That would be that'd be so much value for to be able to slot in and have a quote unquote backcourt of SGA, Daniels, and Giddey. Holy shit! Like, come on! Like, and you put Jabari Smith in there. Like, what are we doing? Like, God bless the Thunder. I really hope they knock this draft out of the park. They 100% deserve to. I think they have the ammunition to go ahead and do it, especially with moving up.
If they draft Daniels, they got to start playing the Australian national anthem before every game, before every home game. I don't make the rules. That's just how it
so they have Giddey, then they take Daniels in this draft, then they get Tyrese Proctor in next year's draft, and then you really have to play the anthem. Yeah, we don't make the rules.
Just put the flag on the jersey. I mean, there it is.
So Corey, you being on the clock for the Charlotte Hornets, I took the popular man to draft at number 13 for the Hornets. I apologize if I stole your thunder, but
no,
I don't know where you're going to go now.
No, I'm feeling great about this. I'm feeling great about where I'm going with this. I'm going to take Malachi Branham here.
Great.
I'm not in.
Good.
I mean, look, I mentioned it yesterday in the stream because I took Branham. I got the pick for Charlotte yesterday as well. I don't know if LaMelo Ball is the guy in the last 5 minutes of a playoff game who you want to be going and, getting up a bunch of shots. I know he can get the shots. I don't know if he has the shot profile to be one of those crunch time scorers. I think that Branham does have that shot profile. He also fits really well next to LaMelo because he can so easily play off the ball and just, catch and shoot, get out in transition, cut to the hoop. Little things like that. But in the last few minutes, you can give Branham the ball and tell him to go, whether it's out of isolation, whether it's out of pick and roll, and he could be your Chris Middleton in this scenario. So I think that, in this scenario, yesterday we still had Mark Williams on the board, so I took Branham knowing that Cleveland wasn't going to take another center, and I was going to try to double dip and get both. But Williams is off the board here, and I'm still taking Branham. I'm not reaching for, Walker Kessler or any of these other bigs. I'm taking, the Deadeye sniper who is 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan.
Rucker, help to calm. Whoa, wait a second. He measured 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan.
Branham.
I'm pretty sure that
I didn't see him. I honestly did not see his measurements.
Hold, please. We're at a hold. Just keep talking. I'll find it out. Thank you.
Holy smokes. Well, what I was going to ask you, Rucker,
yes, he did. 6'5.5" with the 6'10" wingspan, 194 pounds.
Holy smokes. Wow. I could have sworn that kid was like probably 6'4.5" watching on film. Wow. Goes to show how bad my eyes can be. Sometimes I get the eye test really right on film. Sometimes I get it horribly.
Well, Hugo Basone measured at 6'6" today, and I thought he was like 6'1.5".
I did not. There's no way that can be right, can it? There's no
I'm
way
convinced
that can be right.
His agent
I don't know
gave
who's doing
the
the
measuring
measurements.
guy at least 10 grand and said, hey, let's bump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
That guy is not bigger than 6'3".
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says.
This is
6'3"
the
like
Sharif.
his
Is this the
absolute
Sharif
max.
Cooper situation last year?
But God, the one that sent Twitter into an absolute frenzy. Jesus. What I was going to ask Rucker was because I love the pick that Corey just made, and I was going to go to you to maybe help ease any other potential concerns Charlotte Hornets fans might have about it because they took James Bouknight last year. And I'm a Bouknight fan too, but Bouknight does not shoot the rock like this kid does. I mean, this kid is one of the most efficient guards I've evaluated at the college level. It's absolutely insane what he was able to do this year.
Yeah, I'm a humongous fan. We talked about it a little bit on the stream last night. I think this might be one of my favorite fits that's developing that I just, the more and more you think about it, I absolutely love. I love Bouknight. I still believe that he could be a guy that has kind of almost like a bounce back sophomore year, if you want to say that. But
can you play the two of them together? Can you give the ball to Branham and kind of let him initiate some of the offense out of the pick and roll and play the both of them together?
Maybe. Especially if you're taking LaMelo out. Yeah, I definitely think so. Charlotte is in a position where they can't just be like, well, we have Bouknight, so we have to go a different direction. They just need to keep throwing darts at the board. And if Branham clicks and then Bouknight clicks, now you got some real nice depth. And I just think that is a fantastic selection because I'm right there with Corey. I love LaMelo. I think he's a really damn good basketball player. I think he needs some help at the end of a game. I don't think you could just give LaMelo the ball and be like, no matter what, take over. I think he's going to need some help. He needs someone else that can get some buckets. Everyone does.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's not a slander towards him. He needs some help.
That's the best thing that you just said though, was he needs some help because when these franchises find these like potentially generational talents, all of a sudden they're under the pressure to just keep adding pieces and turn this team into like a winner, like a team that can contend in like the top 6 spots in its respective conference. And that means with these 2 picks here at 13 and 15, you can't blow those picks. You have to take known commodities. And we know that Malachi Branham is a good player coming in with the potential to be a great player down the road. You got to nail that pick. I 100% agree. So, Rucker, speaking of being on the clock, that leaves you with the Cleveland Cavaliers. A lot of people have been mocking Branham to the Cavs. If I was a Cleveland fan, I would be absolutely ecstatic if that happened in real life. But he is off the board in our scenario. So Cleveland has to go a different direction. Where are you going?
I can't. I just think this is the perfect fit. I'm sorry, Cavs fans. You're going to see it way too many times with me. Ochai Agbaji just seems perfect for the Cavs, and I can't.
Damn it, Rucker! That's where I was going to go next.
Well, I can't get that idea out of my head, and he's exactly what they need. I'm trying to get a little bit more creative and figure out another wrinkle. Maybe Jeremy could be a wild card here, but I don't think they're going to do that with that front court depth. Shout out Lauri Markkanen. I think just Agbaji's floor spacing. He's going to be an early contributor. I know people are a little nervous because he's an upperclassman, which always makes me roll my eyes. But Cleveland took a strong step this year in the right direction.
They did.
Drafting Agbaji keeps the momentum going forward because you're getting a guy that is just going to be a really good rotation player. He's going to play his butt off. He plays tough defensively. He can shoot the cover off the ball. I think that's exactly what a team on the rise needs. Nathan, we talk about it. Don't swing for the fences. Hit a single, hit a double. This is a great value pick. I think Cavs fans should be drooling for this.
You know who doesn't want you to hit that single or double? Isaac Okoro doesn't want you to hit that single or double. Like
probably.
If the Cleveland Cavaliers get to take one of Branham or Agbaji on draft night, I'd be a little concerned if I was Okoro. Like next year, he really has to start showing for everything he does defensively. He's got to show more of the offense next year. Like at that point, there are no more excuses left because we know Agbaji's going to shoot. As you said, he's going to shoot the cover off the ball. Brandon would do the same thing. Either one of those guys would be excellent fits at this point in Cleveland. So Charlotte Hornets at number 15. Man, I have two players I'm thinking of right here, Corey. I could go Tari Eason right here. And I could give them the 6'9" athletic forward that can make plays on the defensive end, would absolutely fit with the style of basketball they want to play around LaMelo Ball. Or I could go with the player who I think I am going to draft. I threw you back into your chair a little bit with Mark Williams. You ready for this one?
I hope so.
I'm gonna go Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara. I'm gonna make the Jalen Williams pick at 15. You know why I'm gonna make the Jalen Williams pick
now
at 15?
We're getting spicy.
Because we are all very confident in no ceilings. This is one of our two guys that were very underrated, I think, coming into the cycle that we're gonna plant our flags on as a team. We're gonna plant our flag on Jalen Williams Island, and to me, he's one of the most known commodities at this point in this first round class. I am very confident about the player he's going to be on both sides of the ball, with still room to get better. And Charlotte has to knock this pick out of the park. And Tari Eason, I'm sorry. I know there are a lot of Tari Eason fans out there. Rucker, you're back now. You had to step away for a little bit. Did you see the name on the sheet?
Nathan's he's
I'm living
hanging out
dangerously tonight, boys.
He's doing key bumps with Scott Skiles in the bathroom is
Nathan,
what he's doing.
Nathan, we're whatever you're drinking, double shot.
I'm just talking about.
We love it. We love it. And
yeah, Rucker. I know. Well, Rucker hates it, I think, too.
No, I don't.
He wanted to take this guy, but
just talk about shaking James Bouknight's cages. Hey, James, how was your rookie year? Well, it's about to get your second year's about to get a little bit more interesting.
So what I was saying to Corey before he came back was Jalen Williams is one of two players I was thinking about for this pick. The other guy was Tari Eason, and there are a lot of Tari Eason fans out there. I have him as a top 20 guy, but I'm not in love with him. And the fact that we got to knock this pick out of the park if we're the Charlotte Hornets, I'm going to take one of the most known commodities, in my opinion, in this first round class. A guy who we've been talking about the measurements. Everybody's been drooling about him. We are so confident with what he can do on both sides of the ball. As a no ceilings collective, we're planting the flag for Jalen Williams. I love this pick. I love this pick for Charlotte. And you know what? I think if it happened, I think if Jalen Williams was a top 20 guy, some people might roll their eyes a little bit, but then all of a sudden his rookie year and then his sophomore year, this guy is exploding as a legitimate contributor. I am not overstating the fact when I say that I think he could have a Desmond Bane-like impact in the NBA. In terms of this guy's going to come and be far better than everybody initially anticipated. And this is the type of guy you want to take with a top 15 pick. And I'm just, you can talk me into Tari Eason. I'm just not a Tari Eason guy. I think that if you take him, that pick has the chance to potentially faceplant. And if he turns out great, that's fine. That's excellent. I'm rooting for him. I just personally don't want to be the GM drafting him. So that's where I'm at. That's why I took him. But Rucker, I don't think you got enough words in. I drafted your boy off the board. I apologize. But what do you think?
No, I think people might listen and think it's a little wild, but you're building depth. And another interesting wrinkle when you look at Charlotte, Kelly Oubre is going to be on an expiring contract, so maybe they look to move him. And then you need to add some more wings, some more scoring. So I know people might look at it and be like, we need a big, we need a depth in the front court.
I'm not taking another center right here, though.
No,
there's no other center that can come back and return that kind of value.
If you're looking at the board that we have, there's no one worthy of taking in the 15 spot from our big man. I'm sorry.
Corey, is there a big you would throw in there that you'd be like arguing with me, be like, no, they need a big. You should have taken this guy. Is there anybody else that you think falls in the value at this point?
No, I'm not anywhere close to here.
Okay,
nowhere
we're all
close.
in agreement at that point. Yeah,
it's Duran Williams, and those are the only two first round picks for me.
Yeah, Kamagate. I can buy into taking him in the first round, but I think even at that point, it's like a back.
I'm out.
First. All right, so Corey's just out. We're not. Corey wouldn't even let himself be talked in the back end of the first flyer, but that's fine. Rucker,
set a screen. Just set a screen and open up. You're going to be a professional NBA player. Can you set a screen and open up the right way, please? That's it. That's all I want to know.
if Steven was on this podcast, he'd be picking a fight with Steven.
That would be a hard question for him to answer.
All right, Corey, bring some stability back to this mock draft. You're at 16. The Atlanta Hawks are on the clock. You don't even want to make this pick right now either. It's a little gross right now, but
no, I know what I have to do, and I'm excited to do it, but it's not what I want to do. But it's what I have to do because Atlanta's in the situation where I think everybody on that roster is feeling a little bit of heat after the year that they had. And they need to hit on this pick. This cannot be a wasted asset. This cannot be a take a chance on a guy pick. And they need to really fill out their roster in a meaningful way to where this person has a chance to actually contribute next year. So I'm going to take Jeremy Sohan.
Okay. Could have absolutely taken him with Charlotte as well. There are concerns about him offensively, and they are absolutely valid concerns. You can argue to take Sohan as high as anywhere in the 6 to 10 range. He could also fall here if a team isn't as confident in the offense. But in Atlanta, you're not drafting him to be this awesome sharpshooter and this awesome offensive player. You know what you're bringing him in for. You're bringing him in to play defense. And Atlanta just needs – good God, they need any defense they can get at this point. So I would agree 100%. That's a great pick to make. Rucker, Houston Rockets, number 17. They already made one pick. I gave them Paolo Banchero. Number of interesting directions you could take. Probably, I guess, the biggest surprise right now is that Sohan did fall this far. On our mock would probably be the biggest surprise, but I think it's also a little realistic as well. But we'll see where you go at 17. Who are you going with?
I'm feeling just crazy.
Do it.
Crazier than usual.
I already did 2 picks of absolute craziness in my opinion. So let's do it. Let's keep it rolling.
I'm gonna go international here.
Here we go.
I'm gonna take Ousmane Dieng to the Houston Rockets.
That's what I wanted.
Paulo, Ousmane, Şengün. Oh boy. Let's just Showtime Rockets. The rebirth of Showtime. Welcome to Houston. I actually really like this idea. Garuba too. Yeah. I like the raw tools.
Kevin Porter Jr.
Green.
Are we just naming players?
I'm just saying, that's some fun pieces. That's some fun raw talent. Josh Christopher, Jalen Green. I like that. I mean, Dieng has the playmaking, the raw upside to be a really scary asset if he clicks. If he clicks and you have Jalen Green alongside him with Paulo and our boy Şengün, that's a fun core. That's a fun potential starting lineup. So, yeah, I like that a lot. I just thought of that on the go, and thank you guys for your support.
There is very little that I'm concerned about with him from a skills perspective. I think a lot of the concerns, or I shouldn't say a lot, the few concerns I have tie back to the body, and I think he is definitely going to fill out and get stronger. And I think more and more of those concerns are going to ease themselves away as the years go on. So you give him time to develop. This is a Rockets team with very few expectations, probably for the next 2 to 3 years. So let him come along, let him develop, and you might have a potential home run swing with the 17th pick. I love it. Oh God, I have so much pressure on me right now because I have the biggest Bulls fan at No Ceilings looking at me right now, expecting me to take the right player at number 18. This means I can't mess around. I can't go completely batshit crazy with this pick. I have to be responsible. I know what I'm doing though. I'm taking EJ Liddell at 18. I'm gonna make the responsible pick. And it's not just responsible when I say that in terms of it's like the quote unquote the safe pick, right? I think we all agree that EJ Liddell is going to be a really good NBA player. He might not be great. I don't think I would make the bet that he's great, but I think he's going to be really good for a long time in the NBA. And that positional versatility that he brings, he can play the 4, he can play some of the 3, he can be a small ball 5 depending on the lineup. Corey, as a Bulls fan, I think you've been clamoring for EJ Liddell to go to the Chicago Bulls. I think he would probably check a lot of the boxes for you. What do you think about the pick?
Yeah, I love it. Like you said, he checks a lot of boxes. I love his defensive potential in the Bulls lineup. He gives them something that they're currently lacking. I think you could play him in small ball lineups at the 5 with a guy like Patrick Williams, but he also fits at the 4 really well with Vucevic, who can play both inside and out. So, and he's not going to have to take a ton of the tough shots that he took last year at Ohio State. He's going to be able to just do, he's going to be able to roll, pick and pop, get out in transition, and, just focus on keeping the game simple, which is exactly what rookies need to do to earn playing time. And Billy Donovan has always been a guy who's willing to, play young guys and give them a chance to earn their minutes. So I think Liddell is a guy who would have a realistic shot given, what happens in free agency to actually earn minutes on the Chicago team. So, this 18th spot for Chicago, I think they're going to get a player that I'm going to be happy with. I haven't felt great about their positioning in a few years, but this year I'm feeling pretty good about it. I love the
unless they take Blake Wesley, then you might not be as excited.
Then I'm not gonna. You'll see something aside of me on the draft stream that you've never seen before.
And you won't be the only one, my friend.
they need a big of some sort, and for the same reasons that I wasn't going to take a true center for Charlotte with that pick 15. I'm not gonna draft Kamagate or Kessler with the Bulls here either. We're gonna take a player that in our opinion, I should say, brings a lot more value to the table at this point. So, Corey, as I just had pressure from you have pressure from Tyler Metcalf to not screw this pickup for the Minnesota Timberwolves. There are plenty of players on the board that could piss him off that you could draft. But I know you're not going to do that to him. Metcalf's a warrior for us in no ceilings. I know you're not going to do that to him.
I'm not. I'm going to try my hardest not to piss him off. But I'm going to go with Tari Eason here.
Okay.
I think they're a team that, one, they need a guy of his archetype. They really don't have too many guys that fit that modern wing. I know you can consider, Jaden McDaniels that maybe, but outside of him, there's not too many of these guys who you could see swinging up and down as defenders. I'm a bigger believer in Eason's shot long term than I think a lot of people in no ceilings are. I like his handle a little bit more. He definitely uses it to mostly go right, and that's a concern. But I'm more in on his defense. But I like that he's got some nasty to him, and I think that they need more of those guys who have the nasty to him. You see the Patrick Beverley, the culture that he's tried to instill in all these guys. Anthony Edwards has that dog in them. And, a guy like Cat, who's very laid back and that's not really his personality, I think surrounding him with more of those guys at a position of need where I think this is like tremendous value for Eason, who I could also see potentially going anywhere from like 10 to 14 in the lottery as well. So I think this is a good spot for Eason.
And it would have been a good spot for EJ Liddell too, who is also likely going to be a popular target for the Timberwolves. But he went a pick earlier, so we had to go in a different direction. But I like the Eason fit for all the reasons that you outlined, Corey. Rucker, second pick in the first round for the San Antonio Spurs, number 20. You got to pick for the boring franchise. I can only imagine the direction you're going to go. Where are you going at number 20?
I hate every option.
All right, so we've reached it, folks. That this is gross. We've hit it.
I'm in the mud now. We're in the end game now.
Nice Avengers reference, because considering that's what we've been.
Yeah, I've been waiting for the theme song to be playing in the background the whole time.
They put that in.
Yeah, I just don't love a lot of directions they could go. The problem is the guard depth they have really throws a wrinkle at some of these options. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna draft Patrick Baldwin Jr. here.
Oh my gosh!
Thank you.
Come on.
Thank you.
Come on. I was gonna.
That's where I would. That's what I would have done.
I think there's a couple options there that I know Spurs fans might be fascinating themselves with a couple different directions. I think that could be a very big, let's swing for someone long-term here. Peyton Watson was in the back of my mind. I think if Baldwin was on the board, that could be the Spurs saying, hey, we will figure it out.
Yep.
That's too big of upside for us. So I like that. I think, they've got enough defensive guys, and we added Mark Williams to the mix. Let's get a shooter. Let's get some offense. So I like that. That'd be a good one too.
It's one less player that Coach Chip has to work with, right? We know that Pat Baldwin can shoot the ball. For anything else that he might not be able to do, we know he can shoot the cover off the ball. So I love the pick. I would have went there at 21 to the Denver Nuggets to go along with the theme that they just love to draft players who had horrible freshman years / injury-riddled freshman years. So Pat Baldwin would have fit into that mold just nicely. But I can't go that direction anymore. So I'm going to stop the fall a little bit. I'm going to take Jane Hardy here at 21. We're going to stop the fall. He's a guy who he doesn't have to be ready immediately right out of the gate to return value for the Nuggets team that doesn't really want to play a lot of young guys anyways. I know Bones was in the rotation this year, definitely earned his way into the rotation, but kind of got there by
just
default.
Named second team all rookie as we speak. Just got named.
Did he really? He earned that though. Bones Highland was a fantastic prospect last year. Definitely earned being a part of that rotation. But Hardy can be another one of these guys, comes in playing off of Jokic, playing off of so many other talented offensive players on that team. He gets the freedom to just be him and just shoot the shit out of the ball, play offense, look to score, and not have to worry about doing too much of anything else on that end of the floor. And then you live with the defense it gives you, because he's probably not going to be a starting player for them, at least not right now. Anyway, he's going to be a guy they bring off the bench, and he's going to be instant offense for that team off the bench along with Bones Highland. I really like that fit the more and more that I think about it. Memphis Grizzlies at 22. Corey, go ahead. You have the floor. The floor is yours.
Yeah, this is.
Just say it. This is gross.
There's stuff I like. There is stuff I like. There's not stuff I like a lot right now, but there's stuff I like. I'm gonna take Wesley for him.
Okay.
I'm gonna take Blake Wesley for them here.
We talked ourselves into it last night, didn't we, Corey?
Yeah.
Did you? Are you drinking just a smidge more of the Blake Wesley Kool-Aid? Just a smidge more?
No. Well, we ran through the first, and we were like, if the buzz that's circling about Blake Wesley having some fans in the lottery, we were trying to go through. We were like, what team could it be? And then we kept going down the board, and we got to Memphis, and I was like, he could go to Memphis, couldn't he? And I was like, hey, Corey was like, that makes some sense. And then we all kind of agreed on like Memphis would be probably a great spot for Blake Wesley to go. So my opinion on Blake Wesley is a little bit lower, but I could see that making some sense with Memphis's track record and the fact that I joked about it last night. I was like, he ain't starting, so it's gonna be an easy fit for him. It's like, hey, welcome to the rotation. You're not playing over Mr. Morant at all.
So Rucker, go ahead, Corey.
No, he needs to go to the right spot. He is a context-dependent guy.
Yes.
And in his context, this is one that makes sense for him because, like Rucker said, he's not going to be starting. And that means that, I think if you look at the Grizzlies, one of the things you would argue that they need is that they need that guy who, if Ja's not in the game, is going to be able to create his own shot consistently and try to put pressure on the rim in the last few minutes of a game. Obviously Desmond Bane, tremendous player. You look back, he's probably going in the top 5 of his class pretty easily. But he's a take the right kind of shots guy. He's not I need to force it, get mine, and not yet at least. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him to develop some of those chops. But as it stands now, that's Wesley's game. He adds a dynamic, quick, athletic guy, more ground bound than you'd think. But he gets after it defensively, and you've seen that Taylor Jenkins will play young guys who get after it defensively, so he can earn minutes defensively. And then as long as he just learns to tone it down and playing with some of these guys, the space that a guy like Triple J provides, it seems like you could talk yourself into it if you're leaning a little bit more anti-Wesley. It's a spot that you could at least see where the path goes to it working out.
So for someone who's been a Blake Wesley believer for a decent amount of this draft cycle, this is somebody who I've had to bring up my board, then kind of knock him down a little bit. Then I've brought him back up to basically this range on my board. And you have to have the long view in the room, right? Like this isn't going to be a guy who's going to come in and blow you away in his rookie year. Can he be good enough to play some minutes? Absolutely. But is he going to blow you away? Probably not. But if you play the long game with him, give him 2 years, he could really be. We talk about guys who could return lottery type value in this draft class. Wesley's one of these guys who can get mid to late first round. He could absolutely get there. So you won't hear any complaints from me. I really like the pick for Memphis. Rucker, 23, the Brooklyn Nets. No pressure at all for this young guy to come in, right? No pressure. They got enough guys who are going to play in front of this guy. Whoever you choose to take can come along slowly, like a Cam Thomas, and develop. Who are you taking at 23?
I went a different direction last night, and it's been bugging me ever since I did it. So I'm going to try to make things right on Draft Deeper. I'm going to give the good Draft Deeper mock drafts. Last night, I made some mistakes. So I'm going to go with a guy that I've been warming up to in a hurry.
You can argue I've already made mistakes. So it's if we can keep the train rolling both ways. But
the city of Charlotte might agree, but I still have some faith. Have a little faith, great song. I'm going to go with the guy.
Limp Bizkit version, right?
Yeah, obviously. What other version?
Sure.
I'm going to go with a guy that I'm heating up on. I'm starting to get pretty intrigued. I'm going to make Nathan smile a little bit bigger tonight. I'm going to take Bryce McGowan's.
Okay.
The Brooklyn Nets. I'm going to get me some length. I'm going to get me some serious upside. He's going to get locked in a locker room and watch Kevin Durant's shooting versatility and watch film with him. And
he's probably already playing with him. He's training in New York City with Brickley.
There you go. So I'm saying, I think the offensive upside, Cam Thomas takes another step. You might have some firepower coming off that bench. So I kind of like that. I like that vibe. So
listen, all Brooklyn wants to do is draft bucket getters.
Yeah, let's get some buckets. They don't need defense. We get buckets in Brooklyn. Stadium's quiet, but we get buckets in Brooklyn.
So I have the Bucks at 24. There is a pick that I really want to make. I just don't know if I have the balls to actually make it. I know the guy who took Jalen Williams. I know the guy who took Jalen
don't
Williams
have the balls.
might not have the balls. Fine. You know what?
Just do it.
Me out. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna take Dalen Terry at 24.
Yes, I do it. I love it.
I was thinking about a guard regardless, right? Ty Washington has fallen a little bit. Kennedy Chandler would still be in play, but we're just going to take upside at 24. We're going to take Dalen Terry, 6'7" guard, plenty of length, can be a defensive nightmare for teams out there. When you talk about Drew Holiday and Dalen Terry who be on the floor at the same time with Giannis Antetokounmpo, holy smokes. How are you scoring on that team? How are you even going to find driving space to get in the lane on that team? Good grief. And we've talked about it, Rucker. I know that you're Terry guy as well as Albert. You guys are both driving the Dalen Terry bandwagon. You do think there's some offensive upside to keep tapping into as well. The shot's not as bad as some people might want to make it out to be. Has some scoring upside. Very low mistake, low turnover type of player. One of these younger guys, if he comes in and gets NBA minutes, I don't think he's going to make some of the same mistakes as rookies would make. I think you trust him a little bit more in that regard. Maybe not giving you as much firepower, as much bang for your buck early on, but at least he's probably not going to do or make as many dumb mistakes as a lot of other rookies would make.
He's just never going to be this force guy. He knows his strengths. He knows his weaknesses. So his shot is going to scare a little bit of people. I understand it's a work in progress. I think once he adds some upper body strength, that'll probably look a lot better. But he's also one of those guys, if you leave him wide open, he can hit it. And he can hit big game shots in big time minutes. So he also knows he's got the length and quickness that if he has a lane, he can get into traffic, throw up a floater. But just the vision, the playmaking, he's one of those just energizer bunnies that can, even with defense, he can just bring a crowd to its feet with just his passion and swagger on the court. So, Milwaukee, a lot of people, myself included, we were like, oh, maybe they need to get some more shooting. They need to get some depth. Milwaukee might just be in a position like, get us a dog. We need some more guys to grind in the playoffs and have some rotation.
What better mentor, by the way, than Drew Holiday? Who better to have as a mentor? Like,
pretty good one. Yeah.
I'd say pretty good. And you know what? We might look back at this mock and we might say it's gone off the rails a little bit. But isn't this kind of how it's probably going to happen on draft night, though? Do we really think this draft of all drafts is going to go by the textbook? Like, I don't think so. I think we're all going to be sitting back on our live stream that we do for No Ceilings. We're all going to be having plenty of those WTF moments on draft night. So this would not shock me in the slightest.
Yeah, I like it, Nathan. I really do.
San Antonio Spurs, back on the clock. Third first-round pick. Corey at 25. Are we keeping the craziness going? We reeling it back in a little bit. You've been the one to actually reel us in a little bit, so maybe you can keep that trend going.
I don't know. I think I'm being rational with this pick, but you'll have to let me know. I'm going to take Jake LaRavia for the Spurs, and Jake LaRavia has pulled out of 5-on-5. So
I just saw that.
Maybe he got a promise.
Promise season, baby.
It could be promise season for LaRavia. He pulled out. He, maybe good showing. He got, the thumbs up from a team. But for the Spurs, which is, and they're a team I've heard that may have some interest in him. I just, he's a Spurs kind of guy. He plays the game the right way. He's got a high IQ. He makes good decisions with the ball in his hands. He can cut off the ball. And when you're playing with a guy like DeJounte Murray, like if you can move off ball, he's going to find you for open buckets. He spaces the floor. He can play multiple schemes defensively. He can switch out on the perimeter. You can put him, anywhere on the court and tell him to go make plays and he'll do it. I like to call him to like baby Franz Wagner. I don't think he's first team all rookie like Franz was this year, but I think that he's a guy that's going to be able to impact games as a role player for a long time in the league. So, and I saw him work out. I saw his work ethic. I talked to him. I got to know him. I love the personality behind him, and I think he'll fit in well in a locker room. So I'm going to take Jake LaRavia here.
By the way, for whatever reason, I'm sure you've seen the content already if you are an avid listener of this podcast. But Corey has been a workout warrior for us at No Ceilings. Been going around talking with some guys, interviewing some guys, talking about Jake LaRavia content, Kevin McCullough content, some Ryan Rollins content. Coming soon. Corey's been doing an incredible job for us in No Ceilings, so we definitely thank him for what he's done. And listen, the LaRavia pick makes a lot of sense. If we just sit right here and we look at what we've done for the Spurs in this mock, Mark Williams, Pat Baldwin, Jake LaRavia, the Spurs need versatile size and they need shooting. And we've addressed both of those concerns with what we've done for them in this mock. They have size, but they don't have the same kind of size with athleticism like Mark Williams. And they have wings and they have guards, but they're mainly guys who want to get their own shot off the bounce, right? They're not like your more typical catch and shoot, standstill shooters. And we know that for any shortcomings they could have elsewhere, Pat Baldwin and Jake LaRavia, they're both likely going to shoot the hell out of the ball in the NBA. I think we have full confidence in those guys shooting. So that'd be a major win for the Spurs on draft night. Some people may look at it as a little unconventional. I would consider that a major win for them on draft night. Rucker, Dallas Mavericks. Little pressure for you to make the right pick here because this is a team that I guess they're just going to win. Like Luka is at the point he's comfortable. He's in his own skin having breakfast beers. He doesn't give a shit. He's doing whatever he wants before playoff games and dropping 50, getting triple doubles. That team's winning games now. There's contender status to be had with Dallas. So maybe they don't want to draft somebody who they need to develop. Maybe they want to bring somebody in who can maybe contribute next year, depending on who's walking out the door. We don't know what's going to happen with Jalen Brunson. There's some interesting contract stuff that's going to happen next year. So you got a decision to make. Who are you taking at 26?
I'm going to give him another dog.
Oh, man. I don't even know where you're going, but I already love it.
You're going to love it. I'm going to give him Christian Brown.
Yes.
I'm going to give him I'm gonna give him another.
Oh my God!
Another a-hole on the
Yes.
wing, and I think.
Could you imagine Luka and Christian Brown on the same court? Oh
No,
my God!
I could easily, and I think Mavericks fans might be obsessed with the idea of them drafting a big there, but I think Brown would be an awesome addition alongside Luka.
I would immediately become a Mavericks fan. Immediately.
Well, he just knows how to play the game, and he's feisty. He's competitive as hell. And he can shoot it. He's a much better shooter than people might think. And he can get up. He's got some athleticism. I have to read this graphic that I just saw from the combine because it's been bugging me. I don't know if you guys saw the no step vertical jump rankings today.
I did not.
So I'm just going to name 3 guys, and Christian Brown's involved in this. Kendall Brown was 8th with a 31.5-inch vert, which I still cannot believe from watching film. Christian Brown was 2nd with a 33.5-inch vert.
He's a sneaky athlete, man. He really is.
Guess who was 1st?
Oh, no. I don't even, do I want to know?
EJ Liddell.
Whoa.
35.5.
Let's go.
I've been looking at it for the last 20 minutes. It's been driving me crazy. So
that
I just had to
makes
mention
sense.
that.
If you saw the explosive plays he made just off like the one hop at the rim.
Go.
But no, I love the idea of Christian Brown there for Dallas. I think that's a really good fit. Brown's not afraid to make the extra pass. Luka would love him because he plays his butt off. He's a jerk in a good way on the court. He rebounds, he attacks, he understands how to play team basketball. So I think that would be an awesome fit for them.
I would agree. Like I said, I would instantly become a Dallas Mavericks fan, would instantly make me watch more Mavericks. Not that I don't want to already, because Luka's he's just the incredible player that he is. That man is, we'll keep it PG enough. I won't say what I was going to say, but I could have made a lot of comments about Luka. But tearing it up for the Mavericks and give them another guy who just, as Rucker said, as both of us have said on this podcast before, he just knows how to play basketball. He makes winning plays. He's a dog, brings toughness instantly. And there's more to buy into with the shooting. In my opinion, there's more to buy into. I think late first, early second is the right range for him. So going 26 would not shock me. I have the Miami Heat at number 27. If you're going to try and draft size, we've mocked Justin Lewis here before. I do think that would be a great fit if you want to go size at the forward/wing spot. However, Miami loves guards. They love to add shooting. They love absolute balls to the walls shot makers. I'm going to keep that thing going. I'm going to go Terquavion Smith at 27 for the Miami Heat.
Very interesting.
Another one of those guys. He will be able to get his own bucket from almost anywhere on the floor. Is going to need some time, but they have other guards that they can play in front of him. They don't need him to come in his rookie year and be this incredibly amazing player. When you talk to, for example, I've talked to some people who are much smarter in this space that I am. That think he has potentially some Jordan Poole type of upside. That's the type of player you want to take with the 27th pick. Not talking about taking him in the lottery. At the end of the first round, I think Miami would love to have a player like him in their organization to keep the ball rolling. So Terquavion Smith at 27. Let's wrap this up. Let's run through these last 3 picks, and then we'll give some reactions to our mock. Golden State Warriors, 28. Corey, you're on the clock. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take Gabriel Procida here. My Italian brethren.
I'd never get tired of you saying that.
I want a bouncy shooter who measured in at almost 6'8" today.
Jesus, I did not know he was that bad. I thought he was like 6'6". I did not know. I saw 6'7". Now he measured it at 6'8". Jesus.
With shoes, I think it was like 6'7.75", so almost 6'8" with shoes. Again, he's a shooter. I think he's going to show some off the bounce game. Not even sneaky, maybe the bounciest, wing in the class.
Yeah.
I think at this point he could fit into what Golden State wants to do in their offensive system. I'm a Procida guy. I don't know what you want me to say.
I think we all are at No Ceilings. I think we all love some Procida. I agree with you. Incredibly exciting player to take at 28. The Warriors, whether he's a guy who ends up coming over plays in their G League system, or he's a guy who is a little bit of a draft and stash guy. I don't currently know where his contract situation sits overseas, but I think either way, that team who loves shooting wings, I think would be doing backflips if they could draft somebody like him at 28. Rucker, Memphis Grizzlies, 29. Second first-round pick for the Grizzlies.
Really don't like this spot, Cotton. Yeah.
Man, you are debating hard.
Yeah, this isn't a good. I could see. I'm gonna get weird. Whatever. We're off the rails. I'm going Peyton Watson.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Love it.
For a guy who's being mocked, by the way, I took the time to update a lot of the mock drafts in our No Ceilings database. A lot of mainstream mocks have him in like the 40s and the 50s at this point. Rucker doesn't care. He's taking him at 29.
I think he's gonna have a buyer, and I think Memphis has shown.
All it takes is one.
That's right.
Go with the Avenger.
The buzz is that he's still got plenty of fans in front offices. I think someone's going to be a buyer. Memphis is never afraid to take a swing, as we saw last year with Zaire Williams at 10. And Santi, when they traded back into the first round, which I still am shocked by, even though I loved him. But I just think Memphis could think long-term here. Like, this is a developmental piece. If he clicks, he'd be a really fun wrinkle for that team with his defensive upside and playmaking ability. So I'm just looking at some other names. Like I thought of Koloko there. I don't really think Walker Kessler as much as some people might think. I just don't really love it there. I don't know.
Well, I'm the Oklahoma City Thunder to cap off this first round mock at 30. I am not going to let Ty Washington fall out of the first round. That to me, and I say that I'm not going to let him fall out of the first round, but there is absolutely a scenario in play on draft night where like all of Ty Washington, Kennedy Chandler, and John Montero do not go in the first round. I think the public, despite what they've seen on mock drafts, a lot of people still have Ty as like a top 20 guy. You got Kennedy Chandler on board, still like in the late first round range. I think people got to brace themselves for some of these guards really falling into the second round, whether they deserve to or not. I think the scenario that we have in front of us right now is not out of play. And the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think about where these guards sit and what types of players do you want to be taking in the first round and who could be bringing back some of the value that we're talking about. That's a scenario. I'm sorry. I really think it could happen. And I will not let it happen. I will have Ty Washington there, number 30. But that's our first round mock draft, boys. We got all the names. Any shockers? Any players who you are shocked did not go in the first round?
No, I really do agree with what you're saying, Nathan. Like every year, there's guys that slip out of the first round that we have in our top 30 and we think they're a first round pick and they just fall out. It happens. That's the way of the draft. One curveball, two curveballs completely shifts the momentum of the first round. Sometimes it happens in the top 10. Sometimes you get someone at 19 out of nowhere that you're like, I had him at 38 on my board. Whoa. It could happen this year. There could be some really intriguing value with those first 10 selections in the second round. So, I mean, no one's shocking me that much right now. I know Ty's probably, or no, well, Ty went 30. I could still see him going really early.
Yep.
Jovic will be a guy that everyone's like, what are you talking about? But I could see him falling.
So by my board, Beauchamp did not go in the first round. And that pains me because I love Beauchamp. Jovic, we mentioned. Kennedy Chandler did not go in the first round. Wendell Moore did not go in the first round. Kendall Brown did not go in the first round. I don't know how many people really feel like he needs to go in the first round at this point. He all of a sudden, Rucker, he became a guy who I think could gain some steam heading back to school potentially. We think he's probably going to stay in the draft, but he could actually go back to school and show some new things and really build up his value in a different way versus just showing that he can be a little bit better on what we know he can do. So I don't know if that surprises you at all.
Kendall definitely does. I could see someone buying in on him. I thought about Kendall for 29 for the Grizzlies. That probably would be a more realistic option. It really is going to be interesting. I think Max Christie's another guy that probably could get into the first round. There's so many guys in that range.
Josh Minot got ranked number 10 by John Hollinger today on his 20 guys. My God, I did not even need a cup of coffee this morning to wake up. All I needed to do was look at John Hollinger's top 20, and I saw Josh Minot there, and I'm like, all right,
yeah,
we're gonna have a good day today.
That jolted me out of my bed as well, but that's what's going to happen at the end of the first round. There could be some real wild cards that make some other guys slip down.
Corey, any shockers for you? Anybody that really jumps out at you?
I think that we touched on all the guys who I'm a little bit shocked didn't go. But again, it's at this point, we're so deep into it, it's not shocking at all. And it also wouldn't shock me if not only were all of the guys that we talked about actually drafted in the first round, and some of these guys that we drafted ahead of them were the ones who fell to the second. I mean, it's so fluid that nothing at all will shock me. So I feel good about what we did and the decisions we made. The problem, the fun thing about doing these mocks is that we get to pick for multiple teams, and there's only 3 of us doing this mock. So there are some of our biases, will show up, and certain guys we're going to be more against might have a tendency to drop. But as we said just a few minutes ago, all it takes is one team for some of these guys. And if it's one team, you're going to see a guy that's either a surprise or guys that were, supposed to go in the range they go to. So nothing will shock me come draft night.
My one guy, this might be my new guy for I'm sold that he's just going to go in the first round. That was Josh Minot for months and months and months. But now we've had Leonard Miller enter into the ring. I think Leonard Miller will go in the first round. I'm not going to be the person drafting him in the first round. That's why I did not take him in the first round of this mock. I'm not in on the Leonard Miller experience, at least not right now. I do see him going in the first. Somebody's going to take a swing on. As Corey literally just said multiple times, all it takes is one. Some team, especially a team like the Thunder at 30, for example, talk themselves into taking him. Like there's going to be somebody that buys into Leonard Miller. That I'm confident about. But boys, we did it. We made it through. You guys are absolute troopers for coming on Draft Deeper tonight, helping me do this mock draft. I'm sure that we're going to just keep collaborating with each other for the next month, just doing all kinds of crazy content pieces and videos and podcasts. And we're going to keep the ball rolling in No Ceilings. We've had so much fun this year, guys. Like this is one of the best decisions I think I've ever made in my life, was to team up with you guys here. And you guys, I mean, you guys are the founders, baby. This was Tyler Rucker wanted to bring everybody together, and we reached out to Corey, and Corey reached out to me and Metcalf and Albert, and it just kept the train rolling. And here we all are. We're a part of the No Ceilings collective, and we're just going to keep all of the positive energy flowing. And I can't thank you boys enough for coming on and helping give all of us the opportunity to really do something different in the draft space.
There's one more guy that I think you need to thank, and we all need to thank. Because I feel like he was a little bit of the catalyst to it. He's not a part of the crew. This is also a Mike Schmidt's recommendation.
Yeah, that's a spoiler alert for everyone.
The Godfather behind it all, Mike Schmidt's.
We will tell that story one day, but it's pretty.
In the documentary we film at Summer League.
It's a pretty incredible story. But hey, it's been a bat out of hell, and it's been unbelievable, and it wasn't possible without Corey, and it's not possible without Nathan saying yes, and it's not possible with everyone at No Ceiling saying yes. So it's been so awesome, and I can't wait to see where we go. But I love the family, and I think we're gonna be grinding together for years. So thank you, Nathan, for saying yes. Thanks for believing.
Corey, you start off by giving your plugs, and make sure you throw in all of the YouTube content that's being done, because there's far more than just the Draft Act podcast and what you're writing on the No Ceiling Substack. There's so much more going on.
Absolutely. Corey Taluba on Twitter, the NBA Draft Dude on YouTube. Going to be putting out my Chet film sesh pretty soon.
Let's go.
You know,
Yes.
I've been doing a lot of other content on the YouTube channel, been falling a little behind on the film sessions, but that's because we got so much other stuff that's really important going on, and, you know, doing stuff, as you mentioned, with some of these prospects, Rucker and I, you know, starting on the clock,
Yeah.
you know, our PTI dedicated show, and then all the writing and whatnot. So on that front, I'm going to have a Ryan Rollins piece coming out, I think, in a few days, which I'm excited about. He was a fun guy to have a conversation with and chop it up. And he's a guy that wouldn't shock me if he found his way into the first round after he plays in this combine scrimmage. I'm a big fan. I'm kind of driving that bandwagon. So yeah, just everything we're doing at No Ceilings NBA, No Ceilings TV on YouTube, the Draft Deck NBA Draft Podcast, the whole shebang. Oh, and you know what? I'm putting stuff on TikTok too. You know,
yes,
so NBA Draft Dude on TikTok.
So I had, and the audience will have heard that podcast by the time this one comes out, but I had Max Van Auken on to do some Orlando Magic talk. That was the biggest thing at the end of that episode. He told us we need to be on TikTok full force. And he just went through
I said that.
all of it.
I said that
Now, hang on. You didn't hear the episode. I gave you your credit. I literally said that Corey told us about TikTok a while ago, and he said that he made some posts on his account. He cut up some stuff on prospects, and I said he showed us the numbers, everything, all the buzz he was getting from TikTok, and we all went, "Oh crap. We got to do something about this." I gave you your flowers. Don't you dare,
okay.
Corey. I gave
as long
you
as
your
you
flowers.
as long as you paid your respects.
Rucker, go ahead. Do your usual plug that you do every time you're on Draft Deeper.
I'm at Backcourt V on social media, and I'm also at Tyler_Rucker. Basically, just what side of the bed I wake up on each day. But I'm also at NoCeilingsNBA.com. I'm gonna start getting back into the writing grind. Just like Corey said, we've been finishing up a couple things, and now the floodgates are gonna open. So I'm also gonna be doing some special projects on the YouTube channel. The Undertaker, aka Prospect videos, are gonna come back with a vengeance, and I'm very excited for.
Let's go.
I've had a list of guys I want to do, and I'm really excited to do that. And no, I mean, thanks Nathan for having me on as always. It's been so awesome this last couple of months doing drafts with you guys and our entire No Ceilings crew. It's just amazing what's happened in 1 year. So thanks as always.
To the moon.
And thank the audience for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you aren't subscribed to Draft Deeper, make sure you are wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. You can follow me on Twitter at Draft Deeper. Make sure you are subscribed to everything No Ceilings, YouTube, Substack. There's plenty more content coming over the next month. We're going to overwhelm everybody with the amount of content that we have planned. I'm overwhelmed with the amount of content that we have planned, and I got to help make some of the content. So definitely make sure you're tuned into everything that we're doing leading up to the 2022 NBA draft. We will have a live show. We will do all of those fun things on Draft Night as well. So make sure you're subscribed everywhere so you have all those alerts. You know what's coming. But until then, thank you all for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week.